All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Houston Rockets Daily. I have to talk Christian Wood. I just have to talk Christian Wood, man. So basically, we're in the off season right now. NBA playoffs are still going on. It's not dragging out, but if you're a rebuilding team and you're just kind of waiting for the draft lottery at least, so you kind of have some type of basis of, how the next at least 2 months are gonna be. If we had the draft combine or the draft lottery today and it was all right, Houston's picking 3, then we can start scheming. We can start getting into all right, if we take blank at 3, then we should take, X at 17. If X is taken at 3, the whole shebang. So I want to talk Christian Wood today because I've been seeing a lot of people, I know Lockdown Rockets, I know my buddy Gio has been making videos on it, and, I talk Christian Wood in a lot of my videos, but I did want to give just kind of a firm standpoint on where I am with it. Basically, the way I see it is, as long as Christian can stay healthy, and that was a problem 2 years ago when he first got to Houston, I really would like to keep him for at least half of next season. I think that's where I'm standing. Unless you get an offer where you're blown away. And, I just want to make it known, I'm trying to have as open of an eye, or I'm trying to just keep an open mind on this topic, because Christian's a guy I battled with all season, where it's right after the shenanigans in January, I was with KP and Christian, I'm what the hell are you guys doing? What? Are you guys idiots? You are leaving the arena to go home, and then, Christian, you're refusing to go in a game. Are you Scottie Pippen? Because you're not. And not even Scottie Pippen, was in his right mind when he did that. No. So, basically, that was my initial reaction on that whole, nightmare of a night where they were down 22 points. I don't understand why they were so bitchy that night. But anyways, I know Jackson kind of focused on this in his podcast, where he's the Rockets didn't really have a culture, right? We had Harden last year. Christian Wood came to play with Harden. He came to play with Russ. He came to win a ring, most likely. He came to compete at a high level. And so everyone gets traded. And then you're bringing in a lot of new players to the team. Victor Oladipo, whether or not they last for a long time, you're just bringing in a lot of new faces. Last season, DeMarcus Cousins, Kevin Porter Jr., there's just guys cycling in and out of the roster. So couldn't really establish an identity post-Harden. So this season, kind of the same thing. Offense wasn't really clicking. The defense was horrible. Weren't making free throws. A lot of turnovers led to us being the worst team in the NBA. But we just didn't have an identity. And now the identity is starting to get into the trending direction of fun and flashy. Jalen Green era. Paolo Banchero era. Whoever we draft. KPJ. It's these young cats. Jock Jacob. Sengun. It's these young cats that aren't afraid of anything. They don't care if they piss you off. They're going to flex. They're going to smile. And they're going to just be themselves. And they're going to have a fun-ass time doing it. And that's what I love about him. I love Jalen Green's demeanor. Sometimes I feel his immaturity, his young age can kind of show, for example, the Cade flex. But at the end of the day, it's a freaking flex, bro. If he walked up to Cade Cunningham, sucker punched him, right hook to the face, then we might have an issue. If he points Cade out, he's hey, Cade, come here. Knocks him while he's looking at him. That's a little different than a sucker punch. But we're talking about a freaking flex. Get over yourself, boomer, 60-year-old man. No one cares. So Christian is in a weird spot where it's all right, well, he's on a $13 million a year contract. Last season was kind of a down year for Christian, and he put up 18 and 10. And if you look at just the stats in the NBA, I don't have it right here, but I would imagine there's at his position maybe there's no way there are 10 power forwards in the NBA putting up a double-double. What he's able to do on an off night, offensively speaking, is more than adequate. And so I talked a lot about this in a video a couple of days ago. I got a lot of people saying, "Oh, is Jalen Green, or is he really your number one option?" I'm yeah, the guy who is 20 and 10 in Penn is my number one option. Is it going to be next year? I highly doubt it. I highly, highly doubt that Jalen Green doesn't outscore Christian Wood if they're both on the roster next year. But yeah, look at the stats, and yes, Christian Wood, number one option. So Christian actually didn't really deal with injuries this year, which was awesome because, 2 years ago when he first got to Houston, he was just like harnessing that ankle all year. Like all year that ankle would tweak itself. So this year, didn't really deal with anything. Got shut down there at the end of the season, saved some legs, and finishes 17.9 per game, 10 rebounds, 2.5 assists, gave you almost a steal per game, gave you a block per game. We're looking at a very efficient 50% shooting. Did take about like 2.5 less shots per game, which I feel like you could kind of see, especially towards the end of that season where you're getting a lot of run from the young guns. You could tell that was kind of like fed up in his head. He's a very emotional player. He's a very passionate dude, you can tell. And so when he wasn't getting his shots, is very similar to Klay Thompson. But Klay Thompson's Klay Thompson. He can do whatever the hell he wants because he's Klay Thompson. Like sometimes when you watch a Warriors game, and it's just the Steph show, and maybe, it's not like Steph's 7-7 or something, but, Steph's 3-7, 4-7, 5-7, whatever he's doing, and Klay's not getting the ball. Next time Klay gets the ball, he's going like, fuck that, and he's shooting the ball. He could have 2 on him. He could have 1 on him, like straight up. He could have hands in his face. He could have a hand on his arm. Ball's going in the net. He's shooting it. He's fed up, but he's Klay Thompson. This is Christian Wood. Christian is one of those players where, he didn't get drafted, got dumped on draft night. That sucks, dude. He's a very strong-willed person. Very strong-willed person. And at only 26 years old, I really don't understand why it's time to write him off. Like, yeah, he's a little outside of the timeline. He wants a supermax. He's not getting a supermax. I want to make that very clear. I want $1 million. Just because I want $1 million, it's not like someone's going to go hand me $1 million. Like, yeah, he wants a supermax. Why would you not want a freaking supermax, dude? You're a good basketball player, a borderline all-star. You want to get to supermax level. He's nowhere near that. He's nowhere near that. I could see a team wanting to pay, and that's where we're going to run into issues, is a team's going to pay him. A team's going to pay him. So what I think is going to happen is Houston's going to draft a guy who's kind of going to fill into his shoes. Maybe a guy, Paolo Banchero, maybe Jabari, whoever it's going to be. They're going to run with Christian Wood for a month or two. Christian Wood's going to be doing 20 and 10. He's going to improve a little bit on the defensive area. Shot 39% from downtown. Maybe you see a 50-40 split from him. He can't shoot free throws for his freaking life. So hopefully you see improvements from the free throw line. And that's another thing. If we look at free throws, let's say he even made like one more. That's more points. He shot 62% from the free throw line last year. If he can get that number up, because he gets to the free throw line at least 5 times per game. He's a big man. He's the big boy. He's the center. He's going to get fouled. So what I think happens is they run with that. You let Sengun kind of develop a little bit. I don't think the Rockets will make a big-time move. Maybe you draft a backup center at 17, whatever they decide to do. And, you let Christian Wood get his trade value up because, once again, a 26-year-old who is 18 and 10 on a down year, just 20 and 10, like a double-double, at 26 years old making $13 million, he'll have value. As long as he doesn't get severely injured, there will always be a team thinking, I will take Christian Wood. And there will always be a team, unless, like I said, the injury, where a team is going to either give up a first-round draft pick or a young, promising player. And I feel like a lot of Rocket fans are kind of hoping that, they're trying to get it all. I don't think he's really proven himself on the defensive level for a team to be like, all right, here's 2 firsts and a guy like, Cam Reddish. Like, that's, it's not going to happen. Maybe next year if he improves in all categories, especially defensively, but let's say, Christian Wood next year is like 24 and 12 and a defensive guy, or improved defensively, then we might be talking like, a first-round draft pick and a guy like Cam Reddish. We might be talking that. And once again, I let this show. I just because I want to give Christian another chance in Houston, just because I think he's a hell of a basketball player, I currently think he's our best player. I don't think that will be the case maybe even a week in, a game into next season. But as it stands right now, to me, in my eyes, Christian Wood, undoubtedly the best player on the Houston Rockets. I'm not giving it to a 20-year-old Jalen Green who is, no disrespect to him, but just because you finished off a good season doesn't just make you better than the 7-year veteran who's a walking double-double borderline all-star. It's just, I'm sorry, that's how it works. So we'll see what happens, man. But here's another thing I do want to mention. I've seen proposed trades of this. I might have even I don't think I've made a video on this, but like, I've seen proposed trades. Basically, you have the Blazers with 2 lottery picks this year. I've seen some where it's like they get, the 8th pick and the 10th pick, whatever it is. We'll know once the lottery comes. But I've seen some stuff where it's like, you'll have our 17th pick and Christian Wood for like either the 8th or 10th pick, or like a draft pick around there. And it's going to have to be a team like Portland. It's going to have to be a team, most likely a contender, who's like, yeah, we're trying to keep our superstar Damian Lillard. We're trying to keep whatever star we have happy. But we need to fill holes around him. And for the cost of a first-round draft pick who isn't going to help us much make the playoffs right out of the get-go, for a borderline all-star who's making 13? Yeah. Yes. So, I really think the Rockets, and this is what they wanted to be, this is what they've been doing, this is what Stone has been doing since he got into office. Flexibility, flexibility, flexibility. That's it for today, man. Go ahead, drop some comments down below on Christian Wood. Hit the like button, hit that sub button, and see you guys later.